blood, bilge, and iron balls. This is the USS Philadelphia. She is a 36-gun frigate, and she's out there patrolling around in the Mediterranean, trying to put an end to slavery. That's kind of like America's thing. We do a whole lot of that. We have spilled a lot of blood putting an end to slavery. Oddly enough, we take more heat than anyone for slavery. Kind of strange. This is a slave ship run by the Barbary pirates. Well, we call them pirates, but they weren't really pirates so much as they carried letters of marque from the Arab slave trade states. So they were really kind of more, what would you call those? Privateers. That's what you would call them if they were in service to one of the European powers. Be that as it may, this is the Mirboka. And it has captured an American ship, the Celia, and enslaved whatever survivors of the crew there are, and is making its way back to its home port, which I can't remember what that was right now. Probably somewhere in modern-day Libya. I don't know, one of those people. The Grand Pasha is very excited. Now, these are just a 24-gun frigate and a brig. And I should warn you, Blood, Bilge, and Iron Balls doesn't actually have a ship's record for brigs, so we're going to use the sloop, and we're going to call it a two-master, and what we're going to do is how did we decide to do this? We decided that it is what it is. In Alan Abbey's rule set, there are no rules for brigs. They just have sloops, so we've renamed this one. Bear in mind, each of these cannons here, you roll one die when it shoots, it represents 6 guns. So this is really a 12-gun brig. This being a 24-gun frigate means, 24 divided by 4 gives you 6. So that's what we're going to be using. And of course, our sloop/brig, we're going to ignore the middle line here. It is fast, but once it loses even one of its mass, it's going to slow way down. You can see the Philadelphia over here. There's a couple of shoals that are going to present some real troubles for those Americans. These two ships, this is the Celia on the right and the Mirboka on the left, are running for safety. The Celia is over here. The Mirboka is in the van. And I should talk a little bit about the shoal first. Anytime a vessel passes over the shoal, it runs aground on a 3 or better. That's going to be bad news. However, these vessels are a little bit smaller than the Philadelphia, which means the Mirboka has a -1 to that roll, and the Celia has a -2. The template is not the only thing you can run aground on. Remember, this is a sandbar that extends 1.5 inches out past the template. If you're within 1.5 inches, you have an additional +1 to that roll. Or I should say, it's actually, let me put it this way. You run aground on a 6, and then a 5, and then a 4, and then a 3 up. Right? So it's 4 if you're within 1/2 inch, 5 if you're within 1 inch, and 6 is, you run aground on 6s. But again, this guy's a -2. So he can move to within 1 inch and still not have a risk of running aground. Because we are in the first turn and the gunfire in this battle is up to 24 inches away, all we have to worry about is sailing. Who goes first? We'll call this one. So the blue ships, and I probably should have declared that early. Notice how the pirates have little red trim. So they're going to go second. The pirates have moved, and of course they're shearing off. They're trying to get away from this larger vessel. The Philadelphia has a bit of a conundrum on its hands. He can plow right over this shoal. He's got a movement of 11 because the wind is out of the north. He's moving 45 degrees to the wind. The difficulty is if he comes down this way, he will be moving faster than if he tries to cut around this way. But he's not getting any closer to his quarry. I still think that's the smart play. You can turn at any point on your turn. So as I said, he can move 11 inches. So if we come 5 to here, and we want to try to stay that 1.5 inches away from the shoal, checking our charts, then we can pivot up to 2 points, and we still have 6 additional inches of movement, which will put him right there. And then we need to check the distance for gunnery. There's 12 inches to here. And from that point over to the other vessels, we are just a bit outside. So those pirates, cagey fellas, they have a little bit of running room, and they might get one more turn out of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to shove everything back to the north to open up a little more space here on the southern end of the table. For the second turn, I've already shuffled my order chits. I've taken out the repair chits. I don't think they're going to matter. But gunnery might. So red gets to sail first. And that means moving these guys. They are just going to run as fast as they can. 11 inches. It's going to take them completely off, and they're going to turn a little bit. I know you can't see it. Don't worry about it. Just trust me. And they're going to turn a little bit away from their pursuers. So there they are. If we come back over here to find out who goes next, now blue gets to do their sailing, and they may be at a point where they can open fire. So here they are, and we'll bring them. They're going to wear around that head. That's just 4 inches, and they want to maximize the amount of time that they have to catch up to their prey. So we're going to turn them once, and because they're turning into the wind, they're only going to get to make 2 of those adjustments. They are still 45 degrees from the wind. They can still move at maximum speed on the next turn, and as I said, they moved 4, so they have an additional 7 inches of movement available to them. The Mirboka has a line of sight that works a little something like this. Line of sight. Of course, they can see anybody, but their firing arc looks a little something like this. That's the 18 inches. So you can see we're beyond 18. We are within 24. So the Mirboka has a shot, but the firing arc of the Philadelphia looks like this. They don't have a shot just yet. Let's find out who gets to shoot first. It will be the pirates. The Mirboka has 2 cannons. So we're going to roll 2d6. And when you fire at a range of 24 inches, you only hit on 6s. No dice. I've shuffled everything 6 inches back, 6 inches over. That opens up the possibility of yet another shoal in the way of the Philadelphia. Vessels look a little something like this. I've mixed up my chips, but I will mix them up just a little bit more to show you guys how honest I am. And it turns out blue gets to take another shot. Same thing, firing a couple of shots, 4 and a 5. Kind of hard to hit at that distance. And then red gets to sail. Oh, you know, blue doesn't get to shoot. They don't have a firing arc. So then red gets to sail. That's these guys. And that's important because when red gets to sail, they're probably going to be out of range having sailed first. So here they are just at the edge of the table, and the next, wouldn't you know it, it's going to be blue. So the Americans now are going to get a chance to catch up, and they're going to have to turn. You can turn to anywhere during your turn. We're going to go 2, we're going to go just to that 45-degree arc, and that's going to take the Americans the other 9. What they're hoping for is another shoal shows up to slow these guys down. At 11 to 11, they're probably going to get away. This isn't going to be much of a scenario, but I'm going to start rolling randomly to see where those shoals come on. And unfortunately for the pirates, they no longer have a shot. The Americans are not within their firing arc. This is the best they can do. Unless they want to turn around and fight, but they're going to lose in a stand-up fight. We have a repair and a repair. Nobody has to worry about that because nobody's hurt. After resetting the table, here's our distances. They're closing in. They're less than 18 inches. The real question is going to be, where does this shoal appear? Because that's going to drive the action. If it appears in their way, that's going to be a real problem. What I'm going to do, I want it to be most likely in the middle with less odds that it's on the extreme edges. So I'm going to roll 4d6. That's how many inches from that edge of the table I'm going to put the center point of the shoal. So big roll for the Americans. That's not going to do it. After pulling the vessels over 6 inches and back a foot, we've got this much space on our little 24 by 30 inch table. You can see how we have a much bigger space to play with when it comes to these long-running chases. You know, very master and commander here. This shoal is not here. I haven't placed it yet. I'm going to leave that up to the vagaries of the dice. Center of the shoal is going to appear. We'll set it the same orientation, and we're going to set it 4d6 inches from the left table edge. That way, it's really probably going to be somewhere in here, but with an extremely unfortunate roll for the Barbary pirates, it could be right in their way. Americans hoping for a big roll. They're going to get a 14, which puts the shoal right here. Not great. This gives our game a very nautical feel. It might not be the most exciting game ever, but the Americans, this is a long-running chase. So let me tell you what's going to happen here. Doesn't really matter who moves first, who fires first. We can flip these over one at a time, but I honestly think, so red can't fire because they don't have a firing arc. Neither can blue, so who's going to move? We've got repair, repair, sail, sail. So blue gets to sail first, and they know that these guys are going to sail at the end of the turn. So all he can do is kind of close the gap. which they'll immediately make back up. What we're really hoping for also is a fortunate draw. If blue can sail and then fire immediately after, they may be able to get a shot off on these guys before they run away. It's time to reset the shoal. I'll measure from the other side of the table. Now the Americans are open for a small roll, and of course they get a 14. So once again, you can see with these average rolls, that shoal is going to continue lining up somewhere right in the middle, little something like this. So the center is going to be right about there. There's 12, and then you go another couple of inches, something like that. So the Americans are making a beeline for that. This may slow them down enough for the Barbary pirates to get away. So to expedite play, let's just go ahead and take a look. Blue doesn't have a shot. Red gets to sail. They're going to get away. Blue then is going to catch up. Blue repairs, and fires. And that's really going to be it. Still, they're going to be locked into this position. For our next round of shoals, I guess we should probably measure, but what happens to these shoals? The shoals are going to be moving at 45 degrees as well. So this shoal, this may be an issue for the Americans coming up. This shoal will wind up moving to right there. And as you can see, the Americans are probably going to have to spin around to avoid running into it. In the meantime, the next shoal is going to show up on a result of a 6. And 6 inches from this table edge puts it right in the way of the Barbary pirates. So now we have something interesting going on. As before, it all depends on the chit pull. Repairs. Blue is going to get a chance to catch up. Now, blue has, as I said, a problem. If they sail the full 11 inches, it's going to put them right into the shoal. And maybe they want to go ahead and do that. Maybe we're just going to stop right there, and we'll see if they run aground. If they can get over this, now remember, they're only going to run aground on a result of a 3 or better. 1 or a 2, so they have not run aground. I don't know if we have to roll that again on the next turn. The real question is going to be, will the red ships get away? That's what we were hoping for. Blue opens fire, and they are going to unleash everything they've got at a range of 9 inches. Checking our cheat sheet. Up to 12 inches, roll a 4, 5, or a 6 to hit for each ship. Well, we'll get to that. Roll a 4, 5, or a 6. The USS Philadelphia, going big or going home, they get to roll 3 dice, looking for 4s. They're only going to get 1 hit. And because they're at full sail, I give ships -1 to hit. I don't think that's in the rules, but it seems like there has to be some kind of reason for you not to be at full sail. I didn't see any penalties for it. Everybody is focused on sailing the ship, so guns are a little bit short-staffed. With a -1 to hit, they're only going to get hits on a 5 or a 6. They get 2 of those. So I'll drop my deck of cards down. We'll cut it just so that you know I'm being completely straight with you. I get an 8 and a queen of spades. 8 of hearts, queen of spades means the 8 and the queen do not get shuffled back into the deck of cards. As you can see here, the 8 of hearts means 2 hull boxes are hit. The queen of spades, 1 gun and 2 crew. So the crew already takes 2 shots because of each shot. Each time you hit, you cross 1 off. We get an extra 2 for the crew. We're going to cross off one of the guns on the starboard side. See how we're firing from here to here? So the side of the ship that gets hit is the side that loses the gun. The next up is going to be red is going to get to fire. And I dropped this down. I was hoping this would happen. So this would be 2 shots. Now remember, Mirboka lost one of their cannons, so they only get to roll once. The Celia gets to roll once too. Looking for a 5 or 6, they're going to get 1 big hit, and it's going to be the red joker. That is not good for the Americans. The red joker is explosion. Lose 5 crew, draw 5 more damage cards for the ship that drew this card immediately. Oof. 3 of spades. And you got to do these in order, but I'm just going to flip them all over. And to save a little time, we'll come back after I work out what the total damage is for the Philadelphia. What a lucky shot. Somebody must have left the door to the magazine open. After all of that, what you find is that the Americans have lost 4 mast, 1 gun, and a full crew star. That means, now you cannot repair your mast in battle. That means their maximum speed under full sail is going to drop to 9 inches. And not only that, but it means the pirates get to sail next. They're going to sail out of gunnery range. The Americans do have a chance to repair, but all they can do is get their gun back into position. Let me tell you what's going to happen here. Well, I guess we should probably play it out, bearing in mind that the Americans now are only going to be able to sail 9 inches per turn. Under normal circumstances, I might be tempted to call the game here, if it wasn't for this shoal right here. This turn is going to be the turn that makes or breaks the game. We've got to roll to see if this vessel is grounded, but we got to do it in turn. So the first thing that comes up is blue sailing. I'll be darned, man. I hope you guys know that I'm not cheating you on this. They'd want to move 9 inches forward, but before they can do so, they have to roll a d6, and we are hoping not to get a 1 or a 2. We get a 5, and that is the worst possible situation. They're going to be ground to a halt right there, and that is really going to allow the pirates to get away, because on their turn, they're going to get to sail, and they get to turn 2 points like so. They get to move the full 11, so we can just put some distance. There's 8, and because they have to turn to avoid the shoal, they cannot snake. They have to wait for the next turn. So they move the 11, and you can turn anywhere. So we'll move up the 2, and then we'll turn, and we're going to be 9 more inches. So that's going to put them out of the range of gunnery. There are rules to get your ship ungrounded. Ironically enough, this was the fate of the Philadelphia. That's part of the reason why I selected this scenario, just to see if it would happen again. As in the real world history, the Philadelphia has run aground. The other thing that could happen here, the other option the pirates have, is to get around into this position and just start blasting the American vessel. Had they turned like so, they would be in a situation. Now, in my game, they ran away, but in this event, it's still just rolling the 2 dice, but the Americans don't have a shot. And they're going to be missing. If they cut down to half sail, maybe they take a couple of parting shots on the next turn to see what happens. They get 1 more, and that shot is going to result in a 4 of hearts, which, what does that do? 4 of hearts is just 1 more hull box hit, so they're hulled. But the key for the Pasha is that he wanted to get away with this American vessel, and in our alternate history, the Celia was not recaptured. In the real-world history, as we talked about in the last episode, the Americans were able to recover their ship from the Barbary pirates, but today, the Philadelphia, a couple of years early, ran aground and is probably going to have to be burned down to the waterline to avoid that 36-gun frigate being taken by the North Africans, which probably would change the course of history. And not for the better. There's your scenario. A little bit more geometry. I think this has a really good feel for the way the Age of Sail battles work, particularly at this smaller scale. Most of the engagements that happened, there's a reason that you know the name of Trafalgar. Those big, massive fleets smashing into each other were pretty rare. These things happened all the time. They don't get as much press as the big, like celebrity events where we threw a Navy battle and everyone was invited. But this is the bread and butter. This is where the war was won by the British. This is where the Americans got involved in a war of attrition against the Barbary pirates and just ground them down slowly over time. So you don't see a whole lot of this in wargaming, but I think that's doing the genre and the era of history a disservice. I'm fascinated by it. Thanks for coming along for the ride. Till next time, I'm praying for you.